Between conversations I've been having and watching Pop the Balloon, there's so much that I just want to talk about when it comes to relationships and being with a man who is emotionally unavailable. Seeing how women will try to force a man to become emotionally intelligent, even when he's showing all the signs that he just does not have the capacity, okay? And I want to help you if you are not married yet. And even if you are married, maybe you can learn something from this. But if you are not married yet, do not settle for a man who does not do the work to understand you as his woman, as his wife, because saying I do is not going to just turn on this light bulb in his head to where he gets you. If he downplays what you talk to him about now, if he acts like you're being over the top, and I'm not talking about the ones who are acting crazy out here, but you know that you are a woman who confronts your man with grace, or you're trying to show him like, this is what I like, and he does not take the time to learn you as his woman, baby, don't make plans to get married. I understand why y'all are saying there's pee in these dating pools. And I don't want you to keep swimming in those pools, because there's a whole beach out here that you could be swimming in, getting exfoliated skin, exposure to the sun at the same time, and meeting that man who really takes the time to be emotionally intelligent. Hey babe, welcome back to the Such a Woman podcast, where we explore womanhood and femininity through the lens of faith. If it is your desire to become the woman of your dreams and to glorify God at the same time, then make sure you hit that subscribe button and the bell notification to know when I upload weekly. I am your podcast host, daelkpasco, and I am here to help you become the woman who is admired, to love her life, and to make an impact amongst generations. So today I am going to talk to you about being with emotionally unavailable men and how doing so is probably blocking and hindering you from operating in your fullness of femininity. So let's go ahead and get into this video. For the purpose of SEO, I put emotionally available men, but I'm going to say men who are not emotionally understanding, because men and women are not the same when it comes to emotions. However, I believe men have the ability to explore emotions if they are open to doing so. There are some men who are not willing to do that, right? And if he's not willing to do that for you, maybe he's not the right one. And we're not even going to get into marriage just yet. I want to talk to the women who have not said yes or I do to a man who is choosing not to be emotionally understanding. Being with a man who makes it his sole purpose to not understand you can be extremely frustrating, especially when you feel like you're making things clear, throwing every sign necessary out there for him to get you, putting the bells and whistles out, and he's still not getting it. I have seen so many videos talking about being with men who intentionally try to embarrass you, men who bash you for fun, who put you down, act like they don't care to be with you. If you ask how they met, then they bring up like the most gory stories to try to shame you. And I want you to know that those are not things that you need to overlook or downplay or act as if they're not a big deal. Those are huge red flags, and you do not want to be with someone who does not take the time to understand your feelings, your thoughts, your emotions, and how to help you stay in your feminine essence as a woman. One thing that the Lord has blessed us with as women is to be gentle, is to be soft, is to be kind, right? To be available, to be receivers. And there are many men who do not understand the importance of what they give to women. And so we hear all these different podcast episodes out here where it's talking about, well, as a woman, you need to be like this, and you just need to do what your man's telling you to do. You need to be submissive. You need to lay this down and allow him to lead you. But what if you're with a man who is emotionally abusive, or being misunderstanding, or doing things to you and expecting you to just forgive him just because he's your man? What if you're with a man who is verbally abusive? Let's talk about verbal abuse real quick. Verbal abuse isn't always cussing you out. It's not always telling you that you're stupid or you're dumb, but it could be downplaying things that you bring to him, ideas that you present, and he acts like they're very stupid. He won't say that they're stupid, but he'll look at you like, girl, oh, so you think you can do that? What qualifies you to do that? Saying different things to downplay who you are as a woman. And so this episode, I really want to open your eyes to seeing if you're with someone who could become a detriment to your destiny. I recently saw a post on Facebook, I believe, and they were talking about being careful with who you marry, because you could end up marrying marrying the person who destroys your destiny. And I know that we can make it seem like once you get married, that's just who you're supposed to be with. But if God is showing you red flags beforehand and he's showing you, hey, this man does not mean you well, he will try to destroy you as a person. Stop thinking that you can get into these relationships with people and change them. Stop trying to be Captain Save 'em. Stop trying to be the one who takes on projects. Stop making it your sole purpose to make sure this man changes. I cannot tell you how many times I speak to women who are believers in Christ, who are flowing in the Lord, moving, knocking things of hell down, breaking people free, literally being used by the Lord. And they get with the wrong man and you don't see them doing anything anymore. They're not functioning anymore. They're not emotionally available anymore. They're cold-hearted, they're bitter, they're sad, they're dying because they can't be who God designed them to be, because they became one with someone that was designed to, not designed, because God did not design us to destroy each other, but allows himself to be used to hinder his own wife's destiny. I've spoken to women in the past that talk about, how they couldn't cry with their husbands because their husbands would tell them that they were being weak. They needed to toughen up. They needed to be stronger. They needed to be basically them. And it's like, how are you getting mad at your wife for crying, for being vulnerable? How are you getting mad at your wife for being softer than you? But then in the same breath, you tell her that she needs to be softer. She needs to be vulnerable. She needs to be more understanding. She needs to be more open. But when she tries to do that with you, you shut her down. And you're not realizing you're trying to turn her into you. And so her femininity is being stifled. She cannot operate the way that she was designed to operate because you're trying to project your masculinity onto her. If you are with a man who will not allow you to be vulnerable or is doing his best to make it hard for you to be vulnerable, to feel safe, he's projecting his masculinity onto you. And like I said before, we are receivers. Is my thing recording? Is this? Oh God, hold on. I had to make sure sound was actually coming out. But we are receivers. When men give us something, we're designed to take it and to multiply it. The good, the bad, the ugly. Our wombs are fertile grounds. They give us seeds, right? To cultivate, to germinate, to grow into something better. But unfortunately, I'm not saying all. There are some men out here who do not understand how to give their women healthy seeds for her to be able to produce something beautiful. And I want you to be careful with who you produce for, who you are receiving from, who you're allowing in your ear, who you are allowing to inform you, who you are allowing to partner with you. Of course, it's not a man's job to make us feminine as women, right? To make us more dainty, to make us more polished, to make us more understanding. It's not his job. However, a man has the ability to help his woman become more feminine, more dainty, more polished. You could be the most dainty woman in the world and get with a man who will either tarnish that and stifle that or make you even more dainty than you've already been. More available, more open, more understanding, more vulnerable, more receiving, more receptive. It's sad to see women get with a man and just shut down and they let themselves go and they stop dreaming, they stop doing, they stop learning, they stop exploring, they stop giving, they become stingy, they become angry, they become bitter, they become resentful, try to match their men's energy because that's how they protect themselves in that relationship. Do you understand what I'm saying? When you are with a man that is stifling you from flowing in who you are as a woman, what you're doing is trying to be safe in that relationship with him. What you're saying is, in order for me to stay with you, I have to pick up some of your qualities and your traits, and I have to act like you because I know how you act. I understand how you act, and if you get you back, then I'm able to kind of fight you as you are. But me trying to fight you in my feminine grace, I will lose every time. And it makes you feel weak. It makes you feel vulnerable because it's like, if I continue being a gentle woman with you, you're abusing that because you as a man are not allowing yourself to be emotionally available or understanding. So I have to do something to stay with you to make sure I stay afloat and don't totally die in this. And so now you're picking up his qualities and his traits and you're becoming rude and you're becoming angry because that's what he's giving you and that's all you can give back to him, because when you give him the niceness, he abuses that. And you're like, I'm not going to be abusing this, but then I don't want to leave you either. So it leaves you in a place where you're losing yourself either way. Listen, if you have to be with somebody who is controlling you in that way, that's the wrong person. There are times where we as women, we can be kind of hard-hearted sometimes, right? And we can be hard-headed and we can be rude. We, have those moments. But if you know that's not your personality and you're with a man who's pulling that out of you, ma'am, be honest with yourself. So if you are still not sure, or if you are choosing to be in denial as to if you are with a man that is emotionally unavailable or choosing not to be emotionally understanding, here are some things that you can look for. He has poor communication and he's inconsistent with the communication that he gives, meaning he intentionally misunderstands you. He doesn't show up for dates. He leaves you on red for days. He is really not available. When you explain things to him, he makes it his business to try to give you like a runaround. He acts like you're never making sense. If you tell him, hey, you planned this date, you said that we would go at this time and we would do this, and I called you to make sure we were good to go, and you said, oh yeah, we're good, but you stood me up. No, that's not going to change. He does not honor his word, and he doesn't honor your time. He doesn't honor the contents of your heart. He doesn't honor what you share with him. So you want to pay attention to the way he's communicating verbally, emotionally, physically, through his time, actions, all of that. He's avoiding commitment. He hasn't brought up the conversation of committing to you whatsoever, and you find yourself bringing it up all the time. I am a sole believer that when a man wants to be with you, you don't even have to ask that question. You don't have to ask what we are, because a man who wants someone makes it clear that he wants that woman, and he will make sure he gets exactly what he wants if she's open to it, right? So if he is avoiding having that conversation about commitment, or if he has committed to you through word and you can see that he's still speaking to other women, talking to his exes, he's hiding you, he avoids you, he acts like you're not existing, he's not ready to commit. He's having low-level conversations with you, meaning he avoids discussing feelings, future plans, or anything requiring vulnerability. You try to have deep conversations with him, he acts like he doesn't know what you're talking about. You bring up things about his childhood, you know that he's been through some things, and he acts like you're crazy. He does not care to get to know you. He doesn't ask you questions. He doesn't take the time to understand. He could care less about what's going on in your life. When you talk to him, it's simply about probably him, but not in a way where you're really learning him. You're just seeing things that he likes to do. And that's really all you know about this man. He's not available, and he is not open to having any type of conversation that allows you guys to get to know one another. If you were to leave this relationship right now, you would realize, dang, I really don't know much about him. Yeah, you know the basic things, but what do you really know about him, and what does he know about you? Does he really see you as a woman? When you walk into the room with him and maybe your countenance is low, you're acting happy and you're smiling, is he able to pick up on, dang, something's going on with her, something's off? Can he feel you? Can he sense your vulnerabilities? Can he sense your weaknesses? Can he sense when you're happy? Does he see what makes you full of joy? Does he care? Or is he downplaying those things and acting like he doesn't give a crap? It's possible that he provides a lack of emotional support. You go to him with issues, or maybe you're having a tough day again, and he's just like going on as though his day is not impacted at all by what you're feeling or what you've shared with him. You let him know that a close family member passed, and he's like, oh dang, that's crazy. Well, so do you still want to help me with this later on? And you're looking like, we didn't even address my issue, but sure, I'll help you. You're not realizing how you're starting to conform to his ways and his thoughts in such a way that if you keep doing that, you will lose yourself. And so you really want to look at, is he available? Maybe he's not as emotional as me, because like I said, again, he's a man. He's not going to be just like you, right? But does he take the time to try to understand my emotion? Or does he always say that I'm playing? Does he just write me off? Does he downplay the things that I share with him? Does he act like I'm crazy? Does he try to put on a show to make it seem like I'm the one who's just making stuff up and he has it all together? If I bring a problem to him, does he tell me to stop acting like it's such a big deal when it actually is a big deal and I just simply need help to sort through these things? Is he taking the time to understand you emotionally? And these last two, one, he is extremely defensive. If you confront him about the relationship, issues, problems you're having, he gets on the defense. He shuts down, he stops talking, he gives you the silent treatment, he acts like you don't exist, or he'll talk to you for a little bit, but then he'll say you're making him angry, you're pissing him off, you're getting on his nerves. Is he available to talk to you about these things, or does he get defensive and try to shut things down to where he's stonewalling you? Pay attention to those things. Lastly, he is self-centered. Conversations are about him. He tends to solely focus on himself, his own needs, his own desires. He doesn't serve. He lacks emotional well-being, right? Listen, listen to this, please, if you don't hear anything else I say. If he doesn't care about his emotional well-being, please tell me how he's going to care about yours. I had to tell a friend one time, I said, I notice you don't celebrate yourself at all. You don't compliment yourself. You don't encourage yourself. You don't celebrate your milestones. So there's no way I'm expecting you to do that for me. You don't do self-check-ins with yourself. You're not really introspective. So why would I expect you to check on me? And that was me realizing in different relationships, not just that one, but how we can have relationships with people and we get disappointed because they aren't availing themselves in certain ways, but they don't even do that with themselves. So we have to stop expecting things from people that they don't have to give to themselves. If you notice this man he doesn't practice self-care, and self-care for men and women can look totally different. There's some areas that it's the same. But if you notice this man will work himself to his deathbed, if you notice this man does not care about the way he manages time, if you know this man does not care about bills, if you know this man does not care about his name, if you know this man does not have integrity, if you know this man can have sex with whoever and not care about how it's grieving the heart of God, if you know this man just does not have a care, what makes you think he can care about you? What makes you think he will take the time to try to become better for you? It's a possibility that God can change his heart and make him the man of your dreams before you get married. But if he doesn't, would you really want to be with this type of man for the rest of your life? I tell women all the time, potential that's actually being worked toward is cool. But it's not enough for me to date you and marry you off of potential alone. Because if that potential is dormant, it's possible it may never come alive. And I don't have time to be looking at what you could do, hoping that it becomes what you actually do, seeing that you're really not doing anything with that right now. You have to call a spade and see exactly what's going on right now, right? And I'm not saying that this man has potential and he's showing you, hey, I have a plan, I'm working on this, I'm doing this. I know it doesn't look like it right now, but I promise you, like, this is where we will be as long as we keep doing this and this. Cool. That's a man you can marry because of potential. Everybody has potential. That's not like this amazing jewel that's being in your face. But if you notice this man has potential, but that potential is not being tapped unless you knock on that door, or unless somebody comes and gives a prophetic word, but you notice it's still falling to the ground, or you notice that potential is just being overlooked and he gets annoyed when you ask him about the potential that you see, please do not take on a project. Do not make it your life's mission to have this man change because you want to be the woman on his arm who was there when he was struggling to when he was successful. What if he never becomes successful? What if it never happens? What if his emotional unavailability never changes? What if he never comes out of the place of not caring? What if he always sees you as a burden and someone who's just constantly getting on his nerves because you're trying to connect with him? What if he continues for the rest of his life to be a hindrance to your feminine flow? The worst thing you can do is get with a man who doesn't understand you as a woman. That is the worst thing you can do. And maybe he doesn't have a full understanding, but a good man takes the time to understand. The Bible says to dwell with your spouse according to knowledge. Dwell with your wife according to knowledge, which means he has to take the time to understand you, to get to know you. If you're with a man who does not care to get to know you before he even puts a ring on your finger, how do you know that's going to change when he does give you a ring? Does he know your favorite color? Does he know how you want him to propose to you? Does he know your dream wedding? Does he know what type of house you want? Does he know what you've dealt with as a child? Does he know what you struggle with now? Does he know your aspirations and your plans and your goals? Does he know how you can help him as a man? A man who finds a wife finds a good thing and obtains favor from the Lord, okay? When a man doesn't understand that his wife is a good thing, he will hinder the favor that is supposed to flow from her and into his life. The Bible speaks about how the prayers of a husband who mistreats his wife are hindered when you're with a man who does not take the time to understand you emotionally. He won't see you as a good thing when you become his wife. It doesn't just switch on and off like this. If he's mistreating you as his wife, then his prayers are going to be hindered. That is a hindrance not only in his life, that's also a hindrance in your life. Okay, sorry about that. But to the woman who desires marriage, listen, if you don't hear anything else in this video, hear this. Do not put yourself or your needs or your desires or your wants on the back burner for any man, right? Do not do that. If it matters to you, then don't settle for anything less. Make sure when you do settle in something, it's in what is actually comfortable for your life and what will work for your life and for his. Because if not, you will make yourself miserable and y'all will make each other miserable trying to make something work knowing that like that's not really what you want. And also, you have to take responsibility for your life. We love playing the victim and acting like, oh, he's doing this, he's doing that, he's not doing this for me, he's not availing himself this way. Well, you knew that and you still decided to go forward with the marriage. So you have to take responsibility for the part that you play and love yourself enough to be with someone who actually loves you. Of course, we are going to be different for a reason. There's things that we learn from men and there are things that they learn from us. It does not mean that you're going to be with someone who knows everything about you and knows what to do with you at all times, and vice versa you with them. There's going to be someone that you have to learn and they have to learn you. But just make sure you're with the person who's willing to put in the work, and make sure you're with the person you're willing to put the work in for. This is the Such a Woman podcast. I really do pray that this episode opened your eyes and just helped you to better understand your value and your worth and your needs and your desires, and to really look at your relationships. Next week's episode is It's Really You versus You. You have no competition out here. It's your job to become better every single day, better than the woman you were yesterday. But as always, remember, you are her in real life. And if you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button, that bell notification, and I will see y'all next week. All right, love you.